Available now on Blu-ray, 4K UHD and Blu-ray from Blue Underground is the 1978 classic, that's Classick, The Toolbox Murders. For the whole family, for kids. The Toolbox Murders, directed by Dennis Donnelly and starring Wesley Eure, who you may remember from, I remember from Land of the Lost, but you may remember from the 1980s, 90s Nickelodeon show Finders Keepers. He was also on Days of Our Lives for a long time. Cameron Mitchell, Pamelyn Ferdin, and Aneta Corsaut, I believe, who you might remember from The Blob. She was Steve McQueen's girlfriend in The Blob, and she was also Andy Griffith's girlfriend on the Andy Griffith Show for the longest time. And this is a grim and sleazy and gritty late 70s slasher movie. Not a lot to it. Basically, a series of the titular Toolbox murders occur in this apartment building over a very short period of time. And then, as the police are investigating, a young teen girl is kidnapped and held captive, and it doesn't get a heck of a lot better from there for the teen girl. So I don't want to get too much into this, because to talk about the second half of the movie is to really give away the first half of the movie and who the bad guy is in that. So needless to say, Cameron Mitchell is in this, and Cameron Mitchell is his typical crazy self, crazy persona in this film. Pamelyn Ferdin is the girl who gets kidnapped and is put through the ringer. If you don't recognize the name, you will absolutely recognize the face. She was Jenny Piccolo on Happy Days. She was on the Paul Lynde Show as the daughter. She was a child actress for a long, long time. So if you watched much in the way of 60s, 70s into the early 80s TV, you recognize the face. And then Wesley Eure is Wesley Eure. Oh, did I mention that he's the co-star of Chomps? I have to point that out. Chomps now on Blu-ray, by the way. We're not talking about that here, but I'm very excited about that. So it's so 70s. It's people always talk about the sleazy New York movies and the 42nd Street and Times Square and all that grim, seedy aspect in the 70s into the 80s, but they don't talk as much about this sleazy LA, Sunset Strip, and that kind of stuff, and all the bad stuff, serial killer stuff that went down there. This film purports at the beginning and end of the film to be based on a true story. I couldn't quite confirm that. I'm not sure. It may actually be said in the extras whether that's true or not. I know everything like Chainsaw Massacre, it suddenly is given a lot more gravitas when they were like, this really happened. I'm not sure if this really happened or not, but at any rate. So it looks fabulous. This is an amazing new 4K transfer. So the colors are gorgeous. It's razor sharp, which it serves to sort of peel the layers of time away a little bit when you watch an older film like this, but it also makes the grimness. See, there are two minds here. Some people say, with the original, let's go with Chainsaw Massacre for an example. The original Chainsaw Massacre, a lot of us saw on VHS looking really dark and dingy and dirty, and it felt like this movie that was like a snuff movie smuggled out of hell, and it was really, really effective. Then it was put out on Laserdisc, and it suddenly looked gorgeous, and suddenly it looked like this gorgeous, wonderful, beautiful 70s movie, and then when the nasty stuff starts happening, it's all the more shocking. That's what Toolbox Murders is like here. It looks so gorgeous that when this guy shows up and does what he does, it's just shocking. And the soundtrack is this strange, like mellow 70s, late 70s country pop kind of thing, which again is a harsh contrast to what you see. Like there's a scene with actress, she became known as Kelly Nichols, in a tub, and she's the woman you see on the poster for the movie. And it's this sort of saucy, mellow, laid back scene of her in a tub to this song about Pretty Lady or whatever, and then something really, really gruesome happens, and it's just this huge gear shift, hard gear shift, and shock. So the film really works. It's really sleazy. It really works well, and it's gruesome and grim and kind of dark, especially if you're well versed in any of what went on in the 70s in LA with certain serial killers. It really brings a lot of that grimness to mind. So movie is very effective still. Transfer is phenomenal. I watched the 4K version. The Blu-ray, I'm sure, looks equally as good and upgraded. And then you have the extras. Now, I believe it is all the extras that were on the previous Blue Underground editions, plus a lot of new extras. I found a new Easter egg off the main page, and Blue Underground still kind of does the Easter egg thing. It was a big thing in the DVD era, a little bit less so in the Blu-ray era, or a lot less now, but I still kind of do the up, down, left, right to see what they put on there. And there was a few minutes long excerpt of Wesley Eure talking about Chomps. Now, I'm not going to get into Chomps here. I'll review Chomps when I get the new Chomps Blu-ray, but I love Chomps. It's a running gag with my friends and I, and the fact that on a Blu-ray for the Toolbox Murders is an anecdote about Chomps, I thought was rather fun. So I can't remember all of what's on here for extras, so I actually do have a copy. Are we getting glare on that? I have a copy of the Blu-ray here, and I will read to you from the back of the box what's on this. So pardon my top, please, appreciate what my hat says while I do this. So you have a commentary by the producer, the director of photography, and Pamelyn Ferdin. You have a commentary with Troy Howarth and Nathaniel Thompson. That's new. You have, and these are split between the two discs. So the Blu-ray has an amount of extras on it, and then the UHD has all those and a lot more. There's a new extra interview with the director, new extra interview with Wesley Eure, new interview with actress Kelly Nichols, and there's a vintage one with Kelly Nichols as well. And you get a new interview with David Del Valle. He's a film historian who knew a lot of people in the LA horror cult movie scene in the 70s and 80s, interviewed a lot of them, was close personal friends with a lot of them, and he talks a lot about Cameron Mitchell. That's pretty fun and funny. And then there's another new extra video essay by Amanda Reyes and Chris O'Neill, a trailer, TV spot, radio spots, poster, and still gallery. That's a lot, and I watched them all. And they're all really good. There's a little bit of repetition there, the two Kelly Nichols interviews, and she tells some of the same stories between the two, but they're both lengthy and interesting, and she just seems really cool and open about the width and breadth. Width and breadth? Sure. She's open and honest and interesting about all of her career that she has had, from well before she was in front of a camera to what she does now, and the whole package is really great. Like, it's a movie that I had seen before, and I think I like it the more I see it. I had seen it on DVD originally, and then coming back to it on this 4K disc was pretty fresh for me, and definitely on the sleazy side. Now, it was remade sometime in the 2000s by Tobe Hooper as a almost entirely different movie. The title was really the only thing that was the same. That was pretty good too, if you can find that. But highly recommend this new Blue Underground 4K UHD and Blu-ray. If you don't have a 4K UHD, you can still buy this, watch the regular Blu-ray, and if you ever upgrade, hey, it's right there for you. Blue Underground.